Good evening, Mom. Good evening, classmate. I am Jovelyn Villanosa. We are the Group 4. The topic that we tackle tonight is Week 17, Sustaining Human Society. Sustaining human societies means ensuring that the Earth remains habitable for future generations by balancing the environment, economy, and equity. From the word sustain, dapat balance jud siya aron ma-maintain ang pag-grow og napay maabtan ang next generation nato. This is achieved by first is minimizing waste, reducing waste that can be assimilated back into the environment, which is sabotable na kayo siya kay minimizing waste man siya. And the next is preserving open space, protecting the enhancing local and regional ecosystem like need of proper segregation aron protektahan ang atong ecosystem. The third one is using renewable resources. Using renewable resources no faster than the rate of renewal. Then the next is improving efficiency using more efficient farming techniques and new technologies. Then the next is reducing consumption. Reducing consumption to help eliminate waste. The next is providing basic needs, ensuring that every human has equal access to basic needs like nutrition, shelter, education, and healthcare. And creating transparent economy systems, that are transparent, ethical, and built on fair and equitable practices. And the next one is using sustainable production methods. In production and distribution, we need to use sustainable resources. Mao ni sila ang mga ma-achieve if mosunod ta sa sustaining human society to balance the environment, economy, and social or equity. And these photos nga nasa PPT is short recap rani kay na discuss na ni Ma'am. This is the sustainability Venn diagram. First is environmental, which need natural resources jud siya. Second is economic, and the third is social. Thank you. The next reporter will be Janice Truso.
By the way, my name is Janice Altruso. Our topic is all about environmental economics, politics, and worldviews. But before that, let me read the objectives. First, the relationship between environmental economics, politics, and worldviews is complex and dynamic. Second, economic system related to the biosphere. Third, the use economic tools to deal with environmental problems. Fourth, implement more sustainable and just environmental policies. And last is how can we live more sustainably.
Hello ma'am and hello classmate. My name is Roger Gablinis Jr. This is my report. Environmental issues are deeply intertwined with economics, politics, and worldviews. Understanding this interplay is essential for addressing the conflict changes we face, such as climate change, biodiversity loss, and sustainable development. Here's an overview of how these three factors track, no? Like ekonomiya, aduna sila dakong papel sa paglambo or pagpadaot sa katipunan na panghalitan dagkong industriya nga nagagamit og fossil fuel sama sa planta or sa kanang sa pabrika makatag sila og trabaho og kanang kwarta kita apan usab sila pod ang makahatag og kanang sila pod ang makaguba sa mga bitaw sila makahatag og pollution, sila makaguba sa kanang greenhouse gases. Economic resource management. The economic value of natural resources often drives their exploitation. Economists analyze the cost-benefit ratios of resource use, which can lead to over extraction if externalities, example pollution, resource depletion are not connected. Now, resource management involves evaluating the costs and benefits of using natural resources. If internalities like pollution or depletion are ignored, resources may be over-extracted, leading to long-term environmental and economic harm. For example, ang kanang sobra nga kanang pagpangisda, may tabo kung ang stock bitaw sa isda kay kanang mahurot na tungod kay kanang sobra na kayo, pag-ani tungod sa kanang kinahanglan sa merkado, kung walay hustong regulasyon ang paghusay bitaw sa paghusay, maepektuhan jud ang ekonomiya, ang kanang pagkagamay sa kanang isda, imbis ka tungod na kanang imbis ka nang managhanap ang isda bitaw, so tungod sa kanang kanang abusar na kay ilang pag-harvest ina maayo na sa tama nga lugar, imbis mo daggan mo gamay na ang isda noon, makahulga sa kanang sa panginabuhian sa kanang komunidad na kanang bitaw nagsaligra bitaw sa kanang pagpangisda rapod. Politics, policy making, environmental regulation and policies are shaped by political agendas led by industries. Example, fossil fuel, agriculture, and influence regulation, often prioritizing short-term economic gains over long-term stability. No, itong istorya na ito ganina, no, bayan sa katong mga mga fossil fuel, no? For example, sa US, no, for example sa US ang paglibay sa industriya sa fossil fuel, maka-influensya sa mga pulisiya sa pag-rollback sa mga regulasyon sa greenhouse gas emission, sa paglangan sa harang transition ngadto sa renewable na energy o sa pagtampo sa kanang climate change. World views, natural perspectives, different cultures have varying relationship with the nature, influencing how environmental issues are proceed that address indigenous worldviews often emphasize interconnectedness and stewardship of the land with lead of sustainable practices. Now, for example, sa New Zealand, naglantaw sa kanang natural na mga panghinguanan sa isip sagrado ug nagdumala bitaw sa kanang nila, pinagi sa mga prinsipyo sama sa guardianship, no, guardianship, mga pagsabot bitaw sa practices nga kanang pagtarong sa kanang pagpangisda bitaw aron maprotektahan ang kanang marine ecosystem. Kato lang, ma'am. Thank you.
Good evening, ma'am. My name is Kenneth P. Jacera, and my topic is all about interconnections. Climate change. The economics of climate change are stark, with significant costs projected from inaction. Politically, climate policies become battlegrounds, reflecting different worldviews on responsibility and justice. So, makaingon ta nga ang climate change is number one jud nga ginaproblema sa atong mga leaders, especially sa atong economic karon, kay tungod sa pagbag-o, tungod sa pagka-bag-o sa atong panahon, dako kayo ning epekto sa tuang tagsa-tagsa ka aspeto sa mga sectors, labi na sa kabaguhan sa atong klima. Para sa nang mayong tag kaning bagyo, mo epekto siya sa mga agrikultura, infrastructure, labas tanan mo ning ginatutukan ka dun sa tuang panggobyerno nga makahatag og solusyon tungod ani kaning climate change. And also with resource conflicts. Competition over dwindling resources like water and land can lead to politically tensions and conflict, highlighting the needed of economically sustainable management practices grounded of ethical considerations. So also makaingon ta nga kaning resource conflict, makaingon ta nga tungod sa pagkataas pud sa population sa tibuok kalibutan, makaingon ta nga daghang kakulangan labi na sa nagdugay nga panahon, nagka-high-tech ang mga nagka-high-tech pod ang atong mga gamit. That's why kanang makaingon ta nga usa pod nga makaapekto sa atong palibot is kaning makaingon ta nga ginagamit nga para mapadali ang mga trabaho, ginagamit nila para sa nang planta, makaapekto ni siya sa atong palibot kay tungod sa mga pag-over nga mga paggamit po dani, makahatag siya og outcome sa atong palibot o purisita sa education and awareness, increasing environmental education, faster awareness influencing worldviews, and driving politically economic change. Well-informed population is crucial for advocating effective policies and sustainable practices. So, with education, as we study about science, also kaning makaingon ta nga kaning we're so lucky nga we study about this para makatabang punta sa to ang society, labi na sa to economic nga nagsugod sa tua kung unsaon nato pag disiplina ang atong kaugalingon, especially mingon tag prevention is better than cure, nga hatagan natog bili nga makatabang punta para dili mulala ang atong palibot, mulala ang atong panahon karon, because nagsugod sa tua nga mga tao, dili lang nato i-blame ang atong mga leaders kay sila naghatag nagahunaw na pud unsaon nila pag solusyon ang atong mga problema. And that's all for me. Thank you.
My name is Marianne Plandes, and I will be discussing all about the economic systems connected to the biosphere encompasses how human economics interact with the ecological environment. So, from the word biosphere, it is a global sum of all economics and their interactions with each other. And the example of this is living organisms, plants, animals, fungi, microorganisms. So, in number 1, sustainable development, it is a balances economic growth with ecological preservation, advocating for a resource use that meets present needs without compromising future generations. So, in sustainable development, it is a multifaceted concept that integrates economic, environmental, and social dimensions to ensure that the needs of the present are met without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So, the best example of this is by using renewable energy. So, unsa man ang mga renewable energy? It is the solar energy, wind energy, and as well as a hydropower o uban pa. And then, the other example is green technologies. So, kani siya is kuan siya kay nagagamit siya og energy kana. Ang example ani niya is sa green technologies is kuan siya energy efficient na mga appliances, sustainable transportation, green building technologies. Naapil siya diri kay nagayus man siya og sustainable materials, then green roofs, then rainwater harvesting, and then kuan na pud siya advanced insulation. Second it is a ecological economic. So it is combines ecology and economics to view the economy as part of the ecological system, emphasizing the volume of ecosystem services and the need to include the environmental degradation costs in economic model. So in ecological economic, here nagmerges na ecological principles with economic analysis, recognizing the economy as a component of the broader ecological system. So example ani niya is when planning a new development project, ecological economics would assess not only the financial profits expected but also the potential loss ang mawala pod sa the biodiversity ang katong apektuhan ang clean air, factoring those environmental impacts into the overall economic evaluation. So nagatabang siya to assess nga dili lang siya nga kanang maka-earn mo lambo ang kumpanya or unsa pa na siya dira, but to give importance pod sa biodiversity, especially ang mga kanang clean water, clean air, ano siya po. And then the third one is the circular economy. So a circular economy focuses on the necessity of reusing, fixing, recycling, and repurposing materials to minimize waste, no? So nagagamit siya ingunan nga pamaagi para ma-minimize daw ang mga paglabay o kanang wala nato ginagamit, and extend the life of resources. So dili lang labay nga labay, mangita ta og way nga kanang mapuslan pa nato siya, unlike the traditional linear consumption approach. So example of this is instead nga maglabay ka kanang nakay cellphone na daan, an old smartphone nga wala nimo gikuan, so a circular economy encourages people to repair it. Ayuhon na lang siya, or nakay guba dira ang cellphone nga wala nimo napuslan, or pero naapa to siya something sa sulod nga pwede pa nimo may-use. So recycle it. Camera pwede siya himuon nga security camera sa inyong balay to reduce waste, and making also a better use of resources. So pangitaan siya pamaagi, yung sa pamay siya pwede buhaton ananiya, napabay mapuslan ananiya. So kung naapa, gamiton siya para makakuan pa o mas maayo nga kanang madapatan kay kaya pa man siya. And then the fourth one, it is a resource dependent economics. So resource dependent economies. So kani siya is the economy depend on natural resources. So klaro naman no, resource dependent. So nagabukuan lang yun siya, nagadepend siya sa resources. So ang kasagaran jud mahitabuan niya, naa jud siya mga consequences. So mahimo siya na siya challenges sa environmental, such as depletion of resources, as well as pinaka kuan na jud sa ato ang balik-balik na jud is ang pollution. Ang example ani niya no, if kanang country, a country that relies heavily on oil extraction, kani siya din nata magpalayo, kaning oil extraction may experience air and water pollution. So magka-cause jud siya og air pollution and water pollution, as well as declining oil reserves. So sa kadugayan jud nato og kuan kanang namagud tay kinaiya nga hala harvest ana wala na nya dili na to ampingan ang atong ang gigikanan. So by implementing this regulations, nagatabang siya to limit extraction and investing ug nagakuan po siya advocate to investing in renewable energy, o to invest in renewable energy sources that can help ensure nga mo tagal mo kuan pa siya kanang long term jud siya ba magkadugay jud nga panahon nga mapusla nato og mapakinabangan nato ang environment. Nya dili lang pud ta nga kanang mapakinabangan lang nato ang environment, kita pod napud tay responsibility how to take good care sa ato ang environment. Para give and take lang man siya. So ampingan nato sila atong ating manon. So sila pod mo provide po sila sa ato ang kinahanglan. Kana lang, daghang salamat.
This is Beatrice Ramonida Conciliado, and my assigned topic is Sustainable Development Goals on the topic Sustaining Human Societies. And there are some examples of sustaining development goals. First, economy. Second, society. And third, biosphere. So why economy is related on sustainable development goals? Because economic system provide the resources, infrastructure, and incentives needed to address global challenge. And second, society. So why society is related on for sustainable development goals? Because it provides human capital, social cohesion, and cultural framework needed to implement and maintain these goals, because there are some examples for society development goals. First, education, and also the economy. The example is that the poverty. And third, biosphere. Why biosphere related on sustainable development goals? It is because which society and economy operate without healthy environment, human life and economic activities cannot thrive. Example of that is a zero hunger. There are some example of sustainable development goals. So there's the example of sustainable development goals. First, the no poverty. Second, zero hunger. And third, good health and well-being. Fourth, quality education. Fifth, the gender equality. And there's a lot of sustainable development goals. As you can see our screen, that is our sustainable development goals. Thank you. Once again, this is Beatrice.
Our fourth, the use of economic tools to deal with environmental problems. So problema sa atong environment, market-based instrument, MBIS. Market-based instrument leverage economic incentives rather than clear regulation to encourage environmentally friendly behavior. So nagdepende po na sa market-based sa instrumental. So kanang kaning for example kaning mga market like kanang palengke or mga butik. So ekonomiyang insentibo, so kanang direktang regulation. So naatay three example of market based. Number one, pollution tax. So pollution tax, speaking of pollution tax, is buwis sa pollution. So kanang for example taxing emission or pollutant to internalize the internal costs associated with environmental damage. So pag buwis sa emission o mga pollutant upang maisaloob ang mga panlaban na gastos na naugnay sa pinsala sa kapaligiran. So kanang for example kanang makadaot ng mga sa ato ang pollution, like pollution, mga planta, mga dagko na silang mga tax kay makadaot man na sila sa atong pollution. So number 2,
cap and trade system or sistema ng kalakalan. So, establish a market for emission allowance where companies can buy and sell the rights to emit certain amount or pollution. Pagtatag ng isang merkado para sa mga allowance na paglabas kung saan mga kumpanya ay maaaring bumili at magbenta ng karapatang panglabas ng isang tiyak na halaga ng pollutants. So, no? Number 3, subsidies or incentives. Mga subsido or mga insentibo providing financial support for renewable energy projects, energy efficiency improvement, and resource conservation practices and enhance adoption. So, pagbibigay financial sa suporta para sa renewable energy projects. So, sa mga project no gina-renew gid nila kay para suporta pud sa tuang kuan kaning financial sa atong sample government. So, efficiency improvement and resource conservation practices or maaring mahusay ng adoption. So, kailangan jud nato mag renew like sa atong mga negosyo, sa atong mga bisag garinta dapat na adyo tay renew kay for example di ta ma-renew, so dili man ta tugutan na di ang mag-display or magtukod ta og ganang for example negosyo. So katulang, and daghang salamat.
Today, I am Anthony Bukoy and I'm going to talk about cost-benefits analysis and tradable limits. And cost-benefits analysis, it's a method used to evaluate the advantage and the disadvantage of a project or a decision. If it's worth it ba siya i-pursue na sa decision or sa project. Example is, imagine a school want to renovate its playground, and the cost of this is the material, the labor, the new equipment, the woods, and the benefits of this is it could be more children's playing, and it's improve the physical health of the children, and it's also encourage the physical activities of children. And ilang guys lang puro cellphone lang ang mga bata. Then by analyzing these factors ang isa ka school is can make an informed decision, and that's the purpose of CBA. Tradable permits is a market-based approach used to control the pollution and to manage the natural resources. Ang government is nag-set sila og limit na total amount of pollution na lang ginalawd. Then ang sample is mga fisheries na ang government nag-set sila limit na total amount na pwede na kuhaon ng mga isda. Then if ever naman is silang catch is less than the limits, then they can sell their extra quota to other fisheries. Then overall, tradable permits itself to reduce the pollution, and while benefiting the environment, it's help allowing flexibility and the company's operation. And that's it. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Ulysses John M. Ortega. Number 4 is Environmental Impact Assessments, or EIA. EIA is a tool used to evaluate the potential environmental effects of proposed projects before they are carried out. An environmental impact assessment, or EIA, is a process that evaluates the potential effects of a proposed project on the environment, including air, water, soil, biodiversity, and local communities. Conducted early in the planning phase, it ensures decision makers consider environmental consequences and implement measures to avoid, minimize, or offset negative impacts. By providing a clear understanding of environmental risk, EIAs promote sustainable development and help balance economic growth with environmental protection. So here are some elements of environmental impact assessments. Number 1 is transparency. making the process clear and open so everyone knows what's happening and can trust the results. Number 2 is certainty, having clear rules and steps so everyone understands what to expect. Number 3 is participation, giving people, especially those affected, a chance to share their thoughts and be involved. Number 4 is practicability, making sure the process is easy to follow and can be done with time, money, and resources available. Number 5 is flexibility, adjusting the process when needed to fit different situations or new information. Number 6 is cost effectiveness, getting good results without spending too much money or resources. Number 7 is credibility, ensuring the process and findings are trustworthy and based on solid evidence. Number 8 is accountability, making sure those in charge do what they promised and take responsibility for their actions. Next is number 5, ecosystem services valuation, qualifying and placing an economic value on ecosystem services like clean air, water filtration, and carbon sequestration can help integrate environmental considerations into economic decision-making and policy formulation. Ecosystem services valuation involves measuring and assigning economic value to the benefits ecosystems provide, such as clean air, water purification, and carbon storage by highlighting their monetary worth. This process helps integrate environmental benefits into economic decision-making and policies. For example, conserving forests can be recognized as cost-effective for providing essential services like air filtration and climate regulation, encouraging sustainable development. These are the importance of valuing ecosystem services. Number 1 is enhancing decision-making. Showing the value of nature helps leaders make better choices that balance development and protecting the environment. Number 2 is promoting conservation. When we understand how valuable nature is, we are more likely to protect it. Number 3 is fostering sustainable development. Valuing nature helps us grow in ways that don't harm the environment or future generations. Number 4 is raising awareness and engagement. Knowing the value of nature makes people care more and get involved in protecting it. Number 5 is supporting market-based mechanism. Putting a price on nature's benefits allows us to create systems like carbon credits that reward people for taking care of the environment. So next is number 6, green accounting. Green accounting incorporates environmental factors into national and corporate accounting system. Green accounting integrates environmental factors into financial accounting systems considering the cost of resource depletion, pollution, and environmental damage alongside traditional economic measures. At national level, it helps governments assess the environmental impact of economic growth and guide sustainable policies. For corporations, it tracks their environmental footprint, promoting responsibility and alignment with sustainability goals, ensuring economic progress considers ecological well-being. Types of green accounting. Number 1 is carbon footprinting. Measures how much greenhouse gas is produced by a person, company, or activity, helping to understand and reduce its impact on climate change. Number 2 is energy flow analysis. Look at how energy is used in a system, from creation to use, to find ways to use energy more efficiently and sustainably. Number 3, natural capital, refers to the environment's resources like forest, water, and measures their value and importance for supporting life and the economy. Number 4 is ecological footprinting, measures how much land and resource are needed to support someone or something's lifestyle, and compares it to the planet's ability to renew those resources.
Good evening for everyone. My topic is about implement more sustainable and just environmental policies. So number 1 is inclusive policy development. So inclusive policy development means making sure everyone, especially people who are often left out or kanang pasabot nabiyaan, have a say in creating and using policies. Example ani kay nabay mga tao nga kuan layo na sa syudad. So dapat makabalo sila unsa mga policy o unsay effect ana para sila ha. So it's about understanding the policies often make sure nga unsay epekto para sa ilaha. So ang kining isa pod stakeholder engagement involve marginalized communities, indigenous people, and frontline workers in the policy making process to ensure their voices are heard and their needs addressed. So kining stakeholder engagement is engaged with specific groups who have a direct interest or influence on a policy area. Example po ani kay industry, representatives, experts, NGOs, community leaders o mga lain nga relevant actors. So it is more targeted and focused on specific groups with expertise and influence. Ang stakeholder engagement is ga-focus siya sa kasagaran sa mga specific groups lang pasabot, dili sa tanan, pili-pili lang yang ginakuan. So unlike sa public consultations nga halos tanan. So public consultations host forums and towns hall meetings to gather input from diverse communities, ensuring that policies reflect from the values and needs of those affected. So public consultation is about reaching out to a broader audience including the general public to gather feedback on proposed policy or initiatives. So ang aim niya ni is to gather input from the general public kini nga to ensure wider acceptance and support for policies. So kini nga gagather sa public opinion on unsay concerns sa mga tao to address nga unsay mga transparency. So ang public consultation is ga-focus siya in general public or pasabot tanan grupo, wala siya ginapili. So example is kanang na-propose nga policy, ipahibalo na sa public to gather feedback from the people of para may balan lang sa opinion sa mga tao about anang nga policy nga ilang gipa dumala. So that's all.
Equitable resource allocation. Just transition frameworks create the policies that anticipate and enhance social equity in the transition to a sustainable economy, including retraining programs for workers and fossil fuel-dependent industry. Equitable resources allocation means distributing resources fairly based on needs, ensuring everyone gets what they require to succeed. It's not about giving everyone the same, but providing support according to individual circumstances. For example, giving extra tools to struggling workers so they can perform at the same level as others. Access renewable energy ensures that low-income communities have access to affordable renewable energy sources, potentially through subsidies, community solar projects, or collective purchasing option. Access renewable energy means ensuring people, businesses, and communities can use energy sources like solar, wind, and hydropower. It focuses on providing clean, sustainable, and affordable energy, especially to unprivileged areas, reducing reliance on fossil fuels, and supporting environment and economic development. Environmental justice initiatives address environmental racism, prioritize cleanup and remediation in communities disproportionately affected by pollution, ensuring access to clean air and water. Environmental initiatives aim to ensure all communities, especially marginalized ones, have equal access to clean air, water, and safe environments. They address issues like pollution, climate change, and hazardous waste in underserved areas, promoting fairness and empowering affected communities to have a voice in environmental decision making. Equitable land use policies. Develop land use plans that protect vulnerable communities from potentially harmful developments and promote green spaces in urban areas. Equitable land use policies ensure fair access, distribution, and development of land for all. They balance social, economic, and environmental needs. Addressing disparities by considering marginalized groups, these policies promote sustainable growth, protect community rights, and encourage inclusive planning to benefit everyone, not just specific groups or interests.
So to conclude all the reports, here are ways to live more sustainably. But before I discuss this to you, we should all know that humanity's unsustainable consumption and production patterns are placing unprecedented pressures on the planet. Food loss and waste account for up to 10% of global greenhouse gas emissions. Meanwhile, humanity produces around 430 million tons of plastic a year, two-thirds of which are short-lived products that soon become waste. According to the United Nations Environment Program, or the UNEP, by 2040, plastic production could be responsible for 19% of global greenhouse gas emissions. So to address these issues, individuals must make sustainable lifestyle changes in their day-to-day lives. Here are the 5 ways the average person can reduce their carbon footprint and live more sustainably. Number 1, in food. Instead of buying chemically processed foods, we can choose to buy local plant-based options. Number 2, travel. Avoid short car trips. If your destination is short or can be walked, choose to walk instead of having short car trips. Number 3, housing. Make simple changes at home and work. Instead of moving from one place to another, make simple changes at home so you can be very sustainable with your environment. Number 4, shopping. Think before buying. Whatever it is that you buy, please try to think before buying it, because instead of being very responsible, you can be more sustainable by thinking before you buy. Number 5, leisure. Rediscover local attractions. Look around you and try to be more present in your environment and rediscover the local attractions in your locality or in your municipality. Thank you.